Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Jermaine McCrimmon. Welcome to Humanity Unplugged podcast, and we give honor to the Most High for just being here with our health and strength. We'd like to thank everyone who participates in commenting and sharing our information across the world, across the board. We try to reach people and give them information that can help them throughout their day, week, year, month, whatever it is, just to give some information out. Positive, accurate information. And today is nothing less, it's nothing different. Today's topic, I don't think I talked about this before. And first of all, I like to give a shout out to my day ones, my people that been there from the nitty gritty when it wasn't ugly and it wasn't pretty. They were there for us. They were there in the trenches. My team, we give a shout out to you and we thank you for keeping the ship floating, keeping the direction on, keeping us on course. You know, you guys did that. You give me information, things to talk about, and I appreciate that. To all my social media family, we thank you guys on every platform, especially Facebook. You guys are doing your numbers, and I appreciate you greatly. For those who don't know, we on Facebook, Humanity Unplugged Podcast. There's like two different ones up for some reason. The one that says 3 followers, that's not us. Thank God we up there now. We got about 1,200 followers, and we thank you guys for that. And we also like to thank the ones that's participating on our platform on YouTube. We ask that people go over there and check out the information over there on YouTube, and all our other platforms is Twitter, and we're all over. We like to thank our support team from overseas. We have a lot of overseas listeners who enjoy what we're putting out and they look forward to it. Today is Tuesday and we're putting out this information. It's a little late, but again, guys, I didn't know what to talk about. I worked and I was tired and I'm sitting there and I'm asking the man up high what we're going to do. You know, what can I talk about? And he hit me. So I'm going to give you this work. Today's topic, 123rd episode, is sexual predators. Sexual predators. And I want you to know we'd like to thank you for being here on this episode. Take off your shoes, kick up your feet, put on something nice, something comfortable, you know, relax yourself, put on your thinking cap, and hopefully we can travel together and get this information that might can assist you, might can make you more aware of what's going on in your surroundings and who's around your child or your girlfriend, your wife, whoever it is, because sexual predators are alive and well. They are out here to trick you into dealing with them and isolate you from your families. And when we look into a sexual predator, you have them. Let's look into this now. You know, you got male sexual predators, you know, you have female sexual predators. And even though you might not hear as much from the female side of it, because it is perceived that males enjoy sex or having attention like that. But it is, and it is a fact, and the numbers do show that women do it as well as men. And sometimes you have same sex sexual predators. So you need to understand that this is bigger than just pouring up your cup of coffee and adding cream or putting sugar in it. It gets bigger. Some sexual predators, statistics may say that it could come from the upbringing. They could have been preyed on or attacked when they were children, abused as they were children, and hurt people hurt people. That's what they say. Now, I thank God I didn't go through that, and my kids avoided that. Now, hopefully, your kids did as well, and your family members have stand the test of time of, avoiding things like that. But some people are not that fortunate. Some people do run into people with issues that attack your children. What do you do? How can you help your child? What are the signs? Maybe what can we look for with when it comes to sexual predators? Well, I can't tell you exactly what to look for, but there are some things out there that we can look into and check out on what is a sexual predator and how they affect, and perhaps what are some of the common signs that might be available that can keep us safe and keep our kids or keep your loved ones away from people like that. And let me just tell you, as we peel the onion on this topic, there's a difference between a sexual predator and a sexual offender. And in our next episode, we will get into that and we will dig deep into this topic and why is it that the numbers are what they are when it comes to sexual predators, and why do they prey or like to prey on young teenagers or young kids, and why is that such a major thing for them? Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit up front. A lot of sexual predators that like to attack the teenagers or the young females that are young, and they're 10 to 13 or maybe 10 and under, because you got some really bad ones, really really bad ones. They're 10 and under, dealing with like children. And could you imagine what that'd do to a child psychologically, to be touched and all that? It's crazy. But kids are easy to talk to on the basics of whatever you work at. You can see a child in the street with their parents and you can say, "Hey, hi." And the child sometime would respond. It is that easy to talk to a child. So a predator prey on the weak, the unsecured, the person that's out there that may appear to be by themselves without any structure, guidelines, or protection around them. The predators prey on that. They lick their lips. They uh, get a high off that child going to school by themselves. They feel it's the opportune time to kidnap, talk to them, offer them a ride, anything possible to get them in position where they can be isolated with that child. I'll say it again. Most sexual predators want the easiest prey or easiest person to attack or to try to convince, present a safety environment for that child to come close. So then they can kidnap, perhaps offer them some type of closure, some type of secluded area where they can be with that child or convince that child that they're okay and they can be with that individual. And sometimes, in some cases, you never see the child again. And it's a sad thing that happens, that you send your child out to school one day and they never come back. And they don't come back because someone who you were oblivious to or didn't realize was in your neighborhood, a sexual offender who's registered perhaps in the system, and he was looking out his window and he was pulsating, getting aroused, looking at a child walk to the bus stop. This is not meant to do anything but give you educational purposes on how a sexual predator may think that's right beside you in your cul-de-sac, in your neighborhood, even next door to you in the projects. There's no limitations on where a sexual predator can be. There's no place too much that you can't find them. Yes, they might have some restrictions for offenders, but when you get into a car, they can be anywhere. Let's face it, when you leave your house with or without your child, they are vulnerable to anything that may happen or come around them once they go onto the street. And unfortunately, parents have to support their children, and they're not around for everything. They have to work, they have to get groceries, they do laundry. You have to have some type of trust or structure around where you're going to leave your child with a loved one or with a person that you can say, my child is okay while I go and conquer this for the family. Oftentimes, uh, sometimes, but quite often, we leave our children with the wrong people because people are very conniving, they're very slick, they're very convincing, they're very passionate. They can seem to have so much empathy for your situation, and they can convince you that they can offer you that little bit of peace that you need to go take care of something. And that's all it takes is a moment like that for your child to get violated. That's all it takes is that person to convince the parent that your child will be safe with them. It's okay. You can go. I got this. And I want you to know it sounds good. I want you to know that it's possible, but I want you to know that you're taking a risk. Now, the percentages vary. It could just be your luck, basically. But you have sexual predators that look like decent, upholding people. And in this first episode of part one, excuse me, we're going to go into a few things just to let you know that you can never take your eye off in sexual predators and what could happen to you when you do. How far and how devastating this can impact your family, that individual, the child, and how cold-hearted predators are. And I want you to know that the laws do prohibit certain things, but a lot of sexual predators are free on the streets, in your cul-de-sac, in your neighborhood. You might even speak to them every day and don't know it. You might work with them and bring them food for lunch every day and don't know it. So I want you to know, and I want this information to be clear. We live in a cruel, cruel world. People do not tell you everything about them. And certain things you got to dig and find out on your own. Please be careful who you allow access to your children, to your loved ones, and in your inner circle. This is one of the videos we're going to listen to right quick. It's pretty good. It's not my content. The content is great content. I'm going to tell you who is it from. Empowerment and Wisdom with CP Coomer. Excellent stuff. Here we go.
Are one of the most heinous crimes that society faces today. Sexual predators or offenders often pose a significant threat to vulnerable individuals, including children and women. While it's important to hold these individuals accountable for their actions, it's also essential to understand the psychology behind their behavior. In this video, we will delve into the world of sexual predators, their motivations, and the psychological factors that drive their behavior. Sexual predators can be anyone, from family members to strangers, but they all share a common trait: the desire to exert power and control over their victims. They use sexual violence as a tool to assert dominance and gain a sense of power over their victims. However, not all sexual predators have the same motivations or behavioral patterns. Psychologists have identified several types of sexual offenders based on their behavior patterns and motivations. We will look at the most commonly referenced types. If any content here is triggering, please pause. Resources and helplines are linked in the description. Let's begin with the types of sexual predators commonly described in research and practice. Understanding these categories helps professionals assess risk and plan interventions. We'll describe each type and the patterns commonly associated with them. 4 types: power-oriented, anger excitation, sadistic, and opportunistic. Sexual predators often differ in how and why they offend. Psychologists classify offenders to better understand motivations and behaviors. First, power-oriented sexual predators. These individuals derive pleasure from exerting power and control over their victims. They often target vulnerable people because they perceive them as easier to dominate. These offenders may use physical force or threats and sometimes plan attacks in advance. Pre-planning and grooming behaviors are common hallmarks. Second, anger excitation sexual predators. These individuals use sexual violence to channel anger and aggression. Attacks may be impulsive and driven by uncontrolled rage. These offenders often have prior histories of violent behavior, including domestic violence. Their offenses may be opportunistic but fueled by rage rather than controlling power alone.
So we already went over 2. And this is great information, guys. I'm not going to be butting in. I'm going to let it rock.
Third, sadistic sexual predators. Sadistic offenders derive pleasure from inflicting pain or humiliation. They may have a history of animal cruelty or fascination with weapons or bondage. Their actions are often deliberate and sadistic in nature, focused on inflicting suffering. This type presents a high-risk profile and often requires intensive intervention. Fourth, opportunistic sexual predators. These offenders take advantage of situations where victims are vulnerable. They may target those who are intoxicated or isolated. Opportunistic offenses are often unplanned and may not involve a previously selected victim. Prevention strategies often focus on situational awareness for these cases. To recap, power-oriented, anger excitation, sadistic, and opportunistic, each with distinct patterns. Understanding the distinctions helps tailor prevention and treatment. Beyond types, several psychological factors are common across many offenders. Now we'll look at recurring psychological themes observed in research. Many sexual predators have experienced childhood trauma, including physical or sexual abuse. Such trauma can create feelings of powerlessness and a later desire for control. These early experiences can shape later behavior in harmful ways. Offenders often hold distorted beliefs that justify their actions. They may tell themselves victims consented or that their actions are not harmful. These rationalizations permit continued offending. Many offenders show a lack of empathy and view victims as objects. This dehumanization reduces recognition of the harm caused. Some also meet criteria for personality disorders such as narcissistic or antisocial traits. Clinical assessment can identify these patterns and guide treatment planning. Cognitive behavioral therapy targets distorted thinking and accountability. Preventing sexual violence requires a multifaceted approach. We'll cover key prevention strategies that work at individual and societal levels. Educating individuals about consent and healthy relationships can help prevent sexual violence. Education should begin young and include boundaries and what healthy consent looks like. Clear, age-appropriate messaging is essential. Empowering victims to speak out and report abuse is also critical. Support services and safe environments encourage reporting and healing. Addressing societal factors like gender inequality and rape culture requires cultural shifts.
I'm sorry, guys. We got to get through this, and it's really good. So I'm not talking for those of you who want to hear it. Hey, this ain't it. This is really important information, and we need to just listen up.
Treatment for offenders can reduce reoffending. Treatment may include cognitive behavioral therapy to address distorted thinking, and, where appropriate, medication for underlying conditions. Sexual violence is complex and requires nuanced understanding. While accountability is essential, we must also examine root causes and contributing factors. Common psychological factors include trauma, distorted thinking, and lack of empathy. These factors interact with social influences to increase risk. Prevention starts with education about consent and healthy relationships. Curricula that teach boundaries and communication build protective skills. Empowering victims to speak out requires accessible support and safe reporting systems. Hotlines, shelters, and trauma-informed services are key. We must address societal contributors like gender inequality and rape culture. Public campaigns and education can shift norms and reduce tolerance for abuse. Treatment for offenders, when effective, can reduce the likelihood of reoffending. CBT helps challenge distorted thinking. Combined approaches are often best. A comprehensive approach spans prevention, victim support, legal accountability, and rehabilitation. Each element reinforces the others. Consider an offender who grew up with trauma and rationalized harmful behavior. With assessment and tailored treatment, risk can be mitigated and victims supported. Everyone can contribute to prevention, educate, support survivors, and challenge harmful norms. Bystander intervention and safe community practices matter. Practical steps include supporting survivors, promoting education, and reporting abuse. Know local resources, teach consent, and support trauma-informed care. Many prevention and treatment strategies are evidence-based and measurable. Program evaluation and continuous improvement are essential. Holding offenders accountable through legal systems remains a core part of prevention. Justice systems must be fair, survivor-centered, and informed by best practices. When prevention, support, and accountability align, communities become safer. Progress is incremental but achievable. To summarize, recognize different offender types, address psychological drivers, and build systems that prevent harm.
There you have it, guys. So when we look into this, you see there's many things to it, man. You know, some of the root causes is trauma, things that have happened when you were younger. Behavioral issues can also contribute. The upbringing can contribute. You have people that might be angry. That causes people to start behaving like this, showing their strengths on the weakness, on people that are weak, or might be just easy people that doesn't really concentrate on certain things that they do. So they think they're weak. Sexual predators can be around your neighbor, your police officer. They're all over. So, and I want you guys to know that in part 2, we're going to go through some examples of officials who were sexual predators, police officers who are sexual predators. So we just want to give you a base so you get a good understanding before we peel back. Guys, we'd like to thank you for this episode. And just remember, you know, there's a lot of things out there we got to be aware of. It's enough things on our plate. And I hate to tell you that sexual predators are out there as well, to be aware of that too, but you need to. So stay safe, guys. Keep your team even tighter and closer to you. Keep God first. I see you on Thursday. Peace.